Hello, everyone, and welcome back to This Week Nerd Podcast, the place to talk about all things comics, movies, TV, and holy shit, I never thought we'd talk about this. so last week, Snyder Cut came out. We did an episode that wasn't about the Snyder Cut at all, but it was just kind of like a prelude to this episode. Um, and yeah, so before we actually get into the movie, I just wanted to briefly mention the lead up to the Snyder Cut. And, you know, I think it was a week after the theatrical version came out, the Justice League. Uh,
Oh boy.
this movement started, which you know was just complete garbage. Most of everybody who was involved in that were trash people and should not allowed to be on the internet whatsoever.
But to be fair, that's half the internet.
That's 50% of like comic book Twitter.
I mean, yeah, you can make the argument that fan bases are toxic, but
Spidey Twitter.
this was yeah, but this was like on a completely
Don't fuck
different
with
level.
Spider-Man Twitter. We don't even like Spider-Man.
Yeah. So years of harassment and just utter bullshit. They decided to finally announce the Snyder Cut for HBO Max, and I think my general thought at the time was whatever. It's like I didn't really have much interest in it, but
I think the fact that being on HBO Max kind of made people like weary because it's like HBO is more of like a show oriented, like for originals anyway.
yeah,
Like Curb Your Enthusiasm, The Deuce, like all that stuff, TV shows. So I was like, I hope the quality. I didn't know if the quality was going to be anything like a film.
yeah, yeah. It's just it was a very. I mean, it was kind of strange, but also made sense for Warner Brothers, since they didn't really have
Unless you watch Stargirl.
exclusives at the time, um
Yeah.
but uh but anyway, months went by, everybody was just you know getting kind of weary at the Snyder Cut, but then it came out, and just getting into general thoughts now, starting off with myself. I was one of those people who thought that when the Snyder Cut released, it would be a complete piece of shit. It would be better than Justice League for sure, but like even worse than BVS. And I
It's
figured
not.
that,
It's not hard to be better than Justice League.
yeah, that's true. But
Catwoman was
but
better than Justice League, my guy.
but I figured that everybody would talk about it. It'd have its like 10 minutes of time in the sun, and then everybody would just forget about it. And you know, I was pleasantly surprised. I actually really enjoyed it. I didn't love it per se, but there was a lot that I really liked about it, and overall, I thought it was a good watch. So, uh, okay, Swifty, your thoughts on the Snyder Cut?
Well, to start it off, I will say I am still surprised to this day. It's only been a week from a week. Last Thursday was when it came out, and this movie has literally blown up more than I ever thought it would blow up.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Even critics like it.
everyone is talking about the movie. It doesn't matter what if you liked it or hated it, or even like casual fans and Marvel fans are saying this was a really good movie. Um, Now, I would digress and say like it was a really good movie, but it had its major flaws, which I'll get into in a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still surprised at how huge this movie is, and it's kind of like like impossible for them to not continue the end of this universe because of how big it just got.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Mhm.
like this is the biggest DCEU movie, like build up wise ever, and the final product was even better than the build up in my opinion.
And it did better than the last DCU movie,
It did better. What was the last DCEU movie?
Wonder Woman 84.
Oh yeah, it outdid it. Actually, it on HBO Max it was behind it, but rating wise it's better, and also I think on the long term more people are going to watch the Snyder the Snyder Cut over Wonder Woman.
Yeah, because there's more to the Snyder Cut than Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean it's coming from someone who liked Wonder Woman 84 a lot.
I mean, like, it's because the Snyder Cut is, it's a Justice League movie.
Right, and it's just I prefer the atmosphere of the darker kind of Snyder take on the characters. And also it's been something that we've been waiting for like 4 years. So we haven't been waiting for Wonder Woman 84 for 4 years. But the Snyder Cut has been something that we knew partially existed. It wasn't finished, but there was stuff out there, and we didn't have any way of watching it unless somebody backed Zack Snyder. And it finally happened. So yeah, I just want to point that out. It blew up more than I ever expected. So my initial thoughts on it is, large portions of it are very good, but there's also large portions of it that are completely unneeded and very slow.
Yeah.
The first act was like a drag. Like, some of the first act is really good. Like, when Batman's going in search for Aquaman, I think it was really well done. I love the look of it.
I think it's really well shot.
Yeah, it was. I agree. And also, I liked the whole Superman's death cry, that whole little scene. I think
It
there was a
felt
couple
so
spots.
comic booky.
Yeah, I do feel like there was a couple spots just within that short, like 3 minutes though, that kind of went on. It was like, okay, Superman's yell is getting a little annoying now. Like,
Yeah, it went on a bit too long.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
still
like-
think it was interesting. It was a bit operatic, very comic booky. It kind of reminded me of the shot heard around the world.
Yeah. See, the thing about Snyder though is, with all his movies, I was watching the Anonymous Throwdown podcast episode on the Snyder Cut today, and they made a valid point of, like, Snyder will make these really long movies, and then, like, later when post production happens, he's like, oh, okay, yeah, we're just gonna cut it down in post production, and we're just gonna see like what the final product is, and I'm sure it'll work. But like,
and this
I
is the opposite of it.
right, like, I bet you, like, if this movie was 3.5 hours at the most, it would have been perfect, like, actually perfect. If you just cut a little bit of that crap, the stuff that just didn't need to be there,
Like the fat.
it could have even been as long as the freaking the extended cut of BVS. Like, I'm sure that some of this movie just didn't need to be there. It wasn't like BVS, where unless you saw the Ultimate Edition, you wouldn't understand the plot holes.
Yeah.
Because this movie didn't have a lot of plot holes. It was just really a basic plot. It's like, we're getting these people together. We have to fight this force that's coming in the world, and we have to stop them from taking over Earth. And then they find out Darkseid's coming, and whatever, they kill Steppenwolf, and it leads
That's
into
it.
Justice League 2 subsequently. So it's like not hard to understand.
Yeah.
But it's just all the little side stuff, like, that Zack Snyder always does. He's like, oh, well, we need this. This is like, it's so important to the character development. And it's like, dude, no, it's not. We don't need to see Silas Stone, like, in the lab talking to a janitor about nothing. Like, he's literally, I don't even know what the hell he was doing. Like, his introduction was when he talked to Victor in the very beginning of the movie. And, like, that's all we needed for that time. So everything in the first act, except for the very beginning and the battle on the mascara, was phenomenal, because Steppenwolf looks better.
And he's actually menacing.
Yeah, and his voice sounds better too. I think the darker overtone thing that they put on it sounds a lot better.
I also really dig how his suit is always moving.
Yeah, I loved his design. But yeah, so Ultra, what do you think of the Snyder Cut?
I really dig it. I mean, I think it's really well shot, which is something I've looked at more and more since I want to be a filmmaker.
Yeah.
I think the cinematography is really well done.
Well, I think that Zack Snyder, that's one of his strengths, is shooting movies really pretty. Like,
Yeah, I think that's the best thing he's at.
yeah, like, and not necessarily color wise, but just shots in general. I think they
Mhm.
look really cool for his style.
Like when he's going to, I think it was when he was going to see Aquaman, when it's just like panning around that snow.
Mm-hmm.
I really love that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, I love that we actually get a journey for all these characters. Like
Yeah.
Cyborg and Flash aren't one-note characters.
Yeah.
Mm.
Also, Ryan Choi's hilarious. So
Yeah, I thought it was a good like setup for Adam without them like
yeah,
explicitly saying or hinting at him being Adam, except for the end where it's like nanotech. But still, like that's ambiguous. That any scientist could say something like that. So it just
also
gives us an idea as the audience of what's going to happen.
also
Essentially.
the comic book movie line of the century.
Yeah.
This is the hottest thing on the planet. Same thing I said to my prom date. Then she dumped me.
Yeah.
Best
Well,
line ever.
I haven't asked anyone out to prom yet, so I'll be waiting for that rejection.
Yeah,
in May.
me too. Me too. Yeah, I just love the journeys of all the characters,
Mhm.
especially Cyborg and Flash.
Yeah.
Apparently, people don't like the line that Flash says when he's like reversing time.
What, the make your own past or whatever, that line?
Yeah, I am that kid, Dad. The best
I
of the
like that
best.
line.
I loved it.
I thought it was really emotional and good. I liked it
That
a lot.
that line, that scene, and the scene where Cyborg says, "I'm not broken and I'm not alone." Those were my two favorite
Yeah.
parts.
Mhm.
Two favorite parts of the movie.
I guess we'll get into specific scenes in a bit, so I'm not gonna add anything else. But
I do think it's a solid movie. Um, I I think when you're watching it, when I'm watching it, I can't really find nothing bothers me, but when you look at it after, there's obviously some pacing issues. Some things go on a bit long,
yeah,
Yeah.
and like
slow motion.
and like
We'll
one thing that
get into the pros and cons here in a little bit, but
like just one small thing that bothers me is like Batman shooting a laser gun.
Really?
That just slightly irks me.
Well, we'll get into it completely in a bit.
Yeah, that's just a small thing.
What about you, Alter?
yeah.
Snyder Cut. First of all, I think everyone's gonna disagree with me, but I'm gonna say it anyways. I think it's one of the best comic book movies ever made. I've watched it 5 times, and those are hours I will never get back.
20 hours.
Fuck me.
Yeah,
That's
that's
insane,
20
dude.
hours of my life.
That's almost an
I
entire day.
love this movie. There's only one scene I think that bothers me. It's like that's Flash's introduction scene. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What else do I say?
Wow. Okay.
That's why I script videos. I
Yeah.
just really like the Snyder Cut like a lot, which is
Okay.
weird because I thought BVS was. I mean, I love BVS, but it's nowhere near as like nearly perfect as this movie, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was talking to a Snyder fan the other day, and I told them that I really like this movie. It's not like number one or anything, because I told them my favorite superhero movie was Superman the movie, and they were like, really. But
So
yeah,
I'm trying to
solid.
connect what this has to do with the Snyder Cut. I'm just kidding.
I told you I was talking to a Snyder fan. And,
Right, but like, what's the moral?
J-
I guess Snyder
Oh,
fans
how
hate
much
the Donner movies,
Oh, okay.
even though
Man
it's
of Steel still the best Superman movie.
that's not true. That's categorically incorrect.
Okay,
You're
we'll put it this
categorically
way.
incorrect.
We'll put it this way.
Jonathan
Man of-
Kent,
Man-
sociopath. in
Man
that
of
movie.
Steel is the best Zack Snyder Superman movie that's ever came out.
It's also the only one.
That's why I said that.
Just get your money up, not your funny up, bro.
Mm.
All right, so Marvel, what do you want to move on to next? I guess let's get into the segments.
Yeah, next I just kind of wanted to get into specific pros and cons about the movie, and I have a list here, and I wanted to see if you guys agree with me or not on
Sure.
these. Um, but this was just between two viewings of the movie, so I'm just gonna say I'm gonna start with the cons first, and I just want to see if you guys agree with me. And after all of these, I want to see if you have any additional points to that. So,
Yeah.
my first con is, and I think me and Swifty can agree on this, is that there's way too much slow mo. Like,
That's Snyder's shtick.
Yeah, but there wasn't a lot of slow mo in the other movies. That's
Well,
the thing. Not
BVS.
this
Well, those
one.
movies weren't 4 hours.
Yeah, but like
that's
it's
true.
literally 20 minutes of
Well, I
slow
mean,
mo, like
like
all
like
together. That's
like
insane.
remember, say the death of Bruce's parents.
Yeah, but that was
All
like
slow mo.
just building up the credit scene and just kind of like going through his childhood a little bit, and that
Or
wasn't like it wasn't overbearing and long.
or
'Cause
like
it kept
Watchmen.
switching. But see, the thing with this movie is like there's no scene switches between the slow mo and like something else. It's just one like long segment of slow motion, and it just doesn't stop until the scene's over.
Yeah, it's just like the moment when Aquaman is walking out on the pier. Like, you didn't really need that. Like,
The only
slowed
thing that
down.
saved that scene for me was the music because I think it fit well.
Yeah, the
But
music was great.
like it makes me a little bit be like, okay, that wasn't too bad. Like at least I can watch it and not get totally annoyed. But
I'm
I
gonna think
agree that that
that was
scene
for all
didn't need
the
to be there.
that was probably for all the women to swoon over Jason Momoa.
Like literally, that scene would have been perfect if he just walked out of the bar and like the door slammed shut and then the scene ended.
Uh-huh.
Like we don't need to see all.
Yeah, like
And-
He's
and-
an
even
alcoholic.
also
And
like
you could have still put that song in there.
Hmm.
also like even the opening of the movie, which not for it's a good scene for sure, and
It just goes on a bit long.
yeah, it goes on just way too fucking long.
All I
And
hear for 5 minutes. Ah,
I mean,
it's like,
Wonder
oh
Woman
my
takes one
God.
step into the frame, and all you hear is women screaming.
I know.
um,
It's like that the Greek.
She breathes once, and then all you hear is "oh."
honestly, this movie would be practically perfect if you just cut it down a bit.
yeah, I feel like with the 4 hour runtime, it gave Snyder the excuse to just extend scenes a little bit too much, and it kind of
I
hurts
mean,
in the end.
it's kind of the same problem that Star Wars ran into with the prequels. Like in the original trilogy, he had people to tell him like, "That's dumb. Don't do that."
Well, the prequel. Oh yeah, yeah.
Like you need someone to tell you, why are you doing that? Just stop. Like here's something that will work well. Someone
Well,
to keep you away from doing some dumb stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah. So I think. I think me and Marvel are more in agreement on the slow motion than you two because you guys seem to agree with it, but on different terms. Like you don't. I don't know. Like I
What?
just think me and Marvel are more like really irritated about it.
I'm not that
um,
irritated
and
about it, to be honest.
I guess
I think the only ones that I don't have that much of a problem with are the Flash scenes.
yeah,
The other ones are a lot more egregious.
yeah. If there's
Yeah.
any character that needed the slow mo, it would definitely be the Flash. I mean,
I mean,
Yeah.
he's the Flash.
yes,
100%.
That's a given.
but most of everything else is just kind of like it didn't really need to be slow motion
He
at all.
just loves a slow mo.
I mean, it's definitely one of his gimmicks, but it's not one of his better ones.
Right.
I mean,
Another
it's just a stick.
another thing I guess I'll add on to it is that there's some scenes in there that are just kind of unnecessary and didn't really need to be there. The one
Yeah.
that comes to mind is very early on in the movie. It is right after the first scene between Bruce and Arthur, and it's
Can I guess?
right after Arthur leaves, and these
Can I guess?
yes
It's the women scene.
yes
Yep,
That
that is
didn't.
literally possibly my least favorite part of the whole movie.
I know.
It's actually annoying to watch. Like, it's so long
Wait, what
and
happened?
unnecessary.
I
When the
think
women sing.
it's a
Oh
bit
yeah.
weird. It's a bit weird, and it would make more sense if we actually knew what they were singing.
Yeah, and like, I know Iragen was talking about. He was like, Zack Snyder in 5 years, or all his fans are gonna be like, well, it's a secret message, like of the Greek gods. It's like some type of mythology thing, and it's like, dude, just
But
come on.
it would help if we knew what it meant.
Like nobody cares. Like we just want to see freaking Justice League, not
Yeah,
these random Russians singing.
I mean, you could just cut that out.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, even if they
To be
sang
fair,
for
that's one of the few scenes I'm not a fan of.
even
It's-
if
it's
they
just
sang for
excessive.
10 seconds, it would have made it better. Like if they just faded out after 10
Yeah.
seconds. But then they like sniff Aquaman's clothes and like it's just weird.
it goes on for I think over a minute.
Every
so
woman
it's just,
ever.
It's just
It
like,
was.
oh
That
god.
I mean that might have been 2 minutes.
Okay.
I mean, I sniffed my mother's clothes. But,
The next point I have, which again, me and Swifty agree on this, is that the first half dragged hard.
Definitely.
The first 2 hours, like
Cap.
that first watch, I was really worried because like at the hour and a half mark, I'm like, okay, like when is this gonna pick up? Like there's nothing really happening. There's been some cool moments for sure, but like it's just been mostly people talking, like not a whole lot there. And then as soon as the 2 hour mark, like right as the tunnel battle happens, the movie picks up a lot, and that's when, I see the real like good stuff. But
Yeah, and like Darkseid makes more appearances, and
Yeah.
Desaad starts talking to Steppenwolf more. That whole storyline to me was what really like made the movie a lot more interesting.
mhm.
Was the actual villain plot? It was like, shit. This is like obviously anything. Well, let's just put it out there. Joss Whedon's cut of the movie is superior, but no, I'm just, but,
I was about to say, I was about to grab a gun.
well, yeah, Alto, I remember last year you were like, I actually like Justice League, the Whedon cut. It's not
I was just
bad.
being biased toward. Shut up, all right. Listen, I
you
was
were
just being really
You were
biased.
just being a kid.
Yeah, I was 13. I turned 14, and boom.
Well, so yeah, definitely the film, like Marvel said, it was actually started getting like super boring to me. I was like, dude, this is like, I have 3.5 more hours, or not 3.5 more hours. I'm sorry, 2.5 more hours of this.
I had to take a
And then
break at the hour and a half mark.
exactly.
I had to get up and just walk for a second. I'm like,
Me too.
I need to.
I
Like,
took
need
like
to.
3 breaks.
Like,
I was like, I took one at the hour and
Look,
a half
no
mark.
breaks.
I took one in an hour and a half to take a piss, and then I took one at like 2 hours and 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something. It was just like Marvel said, like there were some cool parts, definitely, but I think the first half would have been saved if there was actually stuff in there that like furthered the plot. Um, there was stuff in there, like they had the scenes with Cyborg and stuff, just like exploring him a little bit more, which was cool. But then you just have these random scenes of like, who cares? Like I was saying earlier, Silas Stone just literally in the lab, like we don't even know, like it didn't matter what he was doing. It had
Yeah.
no significance really.
it was just a
And
lot
he
of
just-
like meandering and like padding to keep the movie going. And after a while, it's just like, man, it's just like, can we just do something?
Yeah, like there were some suspenseful scenes, like when Diana went into the caves under the Amazon temple thing,
Yeah.
and like was looking through the old paintings and saw Darkseid, and that was like suspenseful. It was like, oh my god, like we're getting somewhere, and it's building up this huge villain thing and this plot, and that was great. But if we had more scenes like that, the first act would have been perfect. Like, I'm not saying it needs to be action packed. I'm just saying it needs to be more filled with like, I don't know, maybe Easter eggs and stuff, and things to actually further like things that could happen in the future or what was supposed to happen in the future. Little hints and nods to future films.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Just more interesting talking rather than just like you said, meandering around and like talking about nothing we care about.
Yeah. Another criticism, which I don't know if this is just me or, but I don't really see anybody having an issue with this. Um, and I mean, they shot this, you know, for the Snyder Cut, the nightmare sequence at the very end during the epilogue. It's very weirdly placed because the movie's already done. Like they did they're doing the whole character, progression stuff, and then out of nowhere is just this nightmare sequence, which is mostly just Batman and Joker. Which I mean, granted, it's a cool scene, but
It was
doesn't
kind of mediocre, like the
yeah,
Batman and Joker
it
dialogue, in
just
my opinion.
it didn't really fit in there. So
Well, I think I dislike that scene for a different reason than you do. Um, you said the placement. I actually thought it was kind of cool how it literally was like really random and we didn't expect it to be there. Because in the end, it doesn't really make a difference because it was a dream. Um, I see your point though. I mean, just for me personally, when I watched it, it didn't make a difference to me. But I would say the main issue with the whole nightmare scene is that Joker and Batman's dialogue really is not that well acted, in my opinion. Um, I will say Jared Leto's Joker was very interesting, and he played him pretty well for what he was given. You know, he had to do it on a green screen by himself, um, in Zack in Zack Snyder's backyard. Um,
That sounds
and
like a dream come true, to be honest.
well, yeah, I mean, it was just some of the dialogue was just stupid though. Like obviously,
I love the dialogue in that ending part
bro,
with like the nightmare sequence. I just loved it.
my little fish stick. Come on,
Yeah, I
that was trash.
I
love
just I
getting to
just
reach
think
around.
it was an excuse to get Ben Affleck to say fuck, and like that's it.
I know, and that's another thing.
And I
That was
freaked
one
out
of
when it
the
happened.
that was one of the worst like parts of a superhero movie in any movie. It made me cringe like more than almost anything I've ever
You know
watched.
what's even weirder is that
Ooh, I
like
disagree.
you know what's even weirder is that like they were hyping that up before release. It's like, oh, it's R rated, so Batman's gonna say fuck at some point in the movie. It's like
It was like the weirdest
That
delivery. It was so.
and it
He
happened,
was
and
just like,
I came.
and make no mistake, I will fucking kill you. And I was like, dude, that is so weird. Like, it doesn't sound right. It's just so
It
stupid. Like,
sounded perfect.
and Batman's supposed to be like a changed person. Like he like remember, this is Justice League. He has the
But it's
no kill rule.
also the apocalypse.
But still, he it's like that's Zack Snyder's mindset for you. It's like, oh well, now everything's back to the way it was in BVS. So his mindset has to be exactly the way it was in BVS, even though circumstances are
Okay.
still different. Just because Superman is bad now does not mean Batman has to go back to being a killer.
yeah.
Um, it negates the purpose of Batman ever changing because he's just going to completely go back to his ways. Obviously, we've heard that Batman ends up sacrificing himself, yada yada yada.
hmm
So, but still, it's like he's still murdering people, and it takes away from the initial change of heart because the Justice League is still like halfway together. I mean, Cyborg
Hmm.
and Flash are still there, and now you've got it's like a weird Justice League. It's not really a Justice League; it's just a team. Um, and I think it's a cool idea, but it's just like still Batman killing either way. He would never kill. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
either way you
I
put it.
I don't think he should kill like in any instance.
No, me neither. Um,
I
So,
I
yeah,
think that's the fatal flaw of
Yeah.
these movies.
I
Any Snyder movie is fatal.
It's
think though
even
that
it's
Oh, no, go
even
ahead.
weirder because when you watch Justice League, like I mean, again, it's supposed to be a dream and it's like that kind of nightmare state.
But
But
it's
at this,
also supposed to be the future.
yeah, and like at that point, Bruce is a changed person.
right,
What's the,
and it's
what's the point of the arc? If
exactly.
he
It's like
goes
there is
back.
no arc. Like it just stops, and then it just makes another huge jump to I'm gonna sacrifice myself now because I have to.
It's like,
Otherwise, all this is gonna happen.
yeah,
So it's like he's not doing it. He's doing it for kind of like selfish reasons if you think about it. It's like, oh well, so the only way to fix this is if I sacrifice myself. Um, and it's just so random because it's like there's no like necessarily like change of heart. I mean, the movies never happened Justice League 2 and 3, so we can't say what would have happened to Bruce in between that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not trying to make a definitive, well, this is how he's thinking, but that's just what it comes off as. It's like,
according to Whiteboard, let's see, he hooks up with Lois.
no, that was original plan, but that was aborted.
Oh yeah, that would have happened in.
Didn't Zack Snyder say he wanted Batman to get raped?
No, he said
that was
Batman...
years and years ago.
I think he said that.
I know, but I
he
just
said
wanted to
that-
bring it up.
I think he said that if he were
Had a
making a
Batman
Batman movie or something, I forget, but
If Batman
Oh
was
God,
in
don't give him a
prison-
Batman movie. Do not give him a Batman movie.
If
He
Batman,
he
if
said he
Batman was
wanted-
in prison, he would have gotten raped. That's what he
Yeah,
said.
which would not happen because it would never get that
Come
far.
here.
Because he's Batman.
But look, so I want to end my part of this nightmare sequence thing off with a definite pro. Is that a pro for me was I am absolutely in love with the nightmare world.
Mhm.
I love the look of it. I love how it's so like deserted and just they're trying to literally find the anti-life equation.
Is it just me, or did the Skybeam or whatever remind it reminded me of like the beginning of BVS, with the flashback to Man of Steel.
oh
I know.
I didn't really get that impression off
Me
it,
neither. I know what you're
That
talking about, but it
reminded me
doesn't
of the
really
shot.
remind it.
That reminded me of the shot where Bruce looks out at the city from the helicopter, or whatever, and there's the
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Kryptonian Skybeam.
but okay, yeah.
I never got that impression, but I mean, I could see how you could like see that, but
Same here.
I didn't think of that. But yeah, I think that if we did get a Justice League 2, I'd be so on board for the Nightmare World. I love the idea of it. Because
Only
we've
thing
never
thing
seen
wrong
that
with it.
before.
Only
Go ahead.
thing wrong with it is Batman having a gun.
Yeah, that's just
Fitting.
That's the one
Another-
thing I'd take out.
another thing. Like, fuck you, Zack
Also,
Snyder.
I'd probably recast the Joker
Mhm.
Zaddy Snyder.
because Jared Leto sucks.
Yes.
Well,
The-
I disagree. I don't think it was that bad, apart from like the shitty lines of like the.
Well, I mean,
nitpicks.
the
I
reach
think
around.
I
wasn't
think
that
the
bad.
writing, I think the writing for him was better than his acting.
Yeah, but see, it was improv.
Personally,
It wasn't really writing; it was improv. I mean, I'm sure he had a loose idea of what he had to do, but it was still like, okay, Jared, kind of just do this random shit because it's not even supposed to be in the movie. Just like do what you think comes to the top of your head. But again, I'm not like a hater on that scene. I thought it was interesting.
No, I
didn't think
I
it was
loved
bad.
it.
I think it. I think
My favorite
I
scene of the
don't.
movie, to be honest.
I don't think it's bad. I just personally don't like Jared Leto.
Well, look, I'll just put it this way: if Batman ever says "fuck" again, I will boycott the DCU. In that way, if he ever says "fuck" in that way again, I will, and make no mistake, I will fucking kill you. It's like the worst delivery in the freaking universe.
Oh boy.
I'm the goddamn
Um,
bat.
I guess.
we should kick out Alter now for quoting the worst comic book in the history of comic books.
Well, instead of that,
It's beautiful if you read it in the context I read it.
No.
I just kind of wanted to go over
If
the
you
pros.
read it as a
just-
Family Guy skit, it looks great.
Everyone, the boss is talking.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yes, Dad.
I just I just kind of wanted to go over the pros for a minute before we move on to the next kind of section of the video. So, general pros, better story, better characters, we'll get into that in a little bit, but beautiful visual effects, like top-notch
And
stuff.
And it does not look like Joss Whedon's Justice League.
No, there was only
Which is a
one
plus.
moment that when I saw it, it like kind of like weirded me out. It made me laugh. Like the hero shot of all of them together in the final act. Like that was the only thing that looked kind of bad, but
It did. I agree. And the cowl still, as I always say, looks as bad as ever on
yes,
Batman.
it's still awful. And
There is a couple scenes though that it looks really cool, like when he's in shadows.
It looks better in this movie, but it's still not great.
Well, I don't think it does because it's literally the same exact one. I think
Well,
the visuals help it, but
yeah,
it's
that's
not.
what I was saying. Visually, it looks better than it
I
did
think
in
it's a good
Gotham
suit. I
City.
just think that the BVS suit was better.
And then
Yeah, the BVS suit is better.
my last sort of, or my last kind of two pros here. Um, amazing score by Junkie XL.
Yeah,
I love the whole
agreed.
soundtrack. There was only one piece of music that I didn't like at all, and I
What's that?
might get some hate for this, but I really didn't like his Wonder Woman theme rendition.
Me neither.
Oh my god, it's hilarious how many times they play that theme. I
I'm
die laughing.
I
It's like, oh, it's Wonder Woman.
I hated it.
I kind of dug it the first time, but then it just became more and more egregious, and then I disliked it even more
Yeah, I
every
guess like
time.
the first time they use it is like it's fine, but then it just doesn't work for the rest of the movie. And I wish they
I
used.
think
When you
that
give Wonder Woman like 3 themes.
I think the original theme is the best one.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah.
Well, obviously the Wonder Woman 70s show theme is the greatest Wonder Woman theme.
I mean, we can disagree, but
Moving
So,
on.
so next I wanted to kind of get into characters a little bit, and I think we pretty
Oh yeah.
much, uh, just for time, like we'll go over the characters a little bit, but I just wanted to start with the weakest one, in my opinion. Um, Starting off on the hero side, the weakest character in the movie to me is Wonder Woman because they don't really give her a whole lot to really do. Like she's more of
Yeah,
the exposition type character. Like she had some good action moments and stuff, but like
yeah.
there's barely anything else to it other than that.
Yeah, the
But
I'd
story
argue that Aquaman was actually the worst.
the story
Yeah, but he has
doesn't.
some development as a character.
Yeah, Aquaman actually had an arc. I
Not a
don't.
huge one, but it was there.
Yeah, but the story didn't require a focus on Wonder Woman as a character
Yeah.
because I mean most of her arc was in her own movies and a little bit in BVS.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Aquaman did have an arc, a small arc, but it's still an arc.
Yeah, I mean, he at least finally took up his mother's trident and
Yeah, and
actually joined the heroes when they needed him most.
it was all about being with people.
Yeah.
yeah.
Aquaman became human.
What do you say?
So, yeah, I guess I liked Aquaman. Like they did give him an arc. It wasn't substantial, but it was a good one. And like one of my favorite scenes of his is right before the final battle scene where they're talking about Victor, and
Exactly.
he's like,
That's my favorite one too.
yeah. It's like that's a great character. Another one that I really liked was the scene between him and Diana, like at the grave. Um, I thought it was like just kind of a nice
Oh yeah.
moment between the two of them. But
Yeah,
speaking of other characters that got massive improvements, the Flash.
massive improvements.
Well, I mean, comparing it to the 2017 Flash, like this is far better than what they did with him there. But,
he actually has a character.
Yeah.
now.
yeah, and I think
Right.
we can all agree on the best scene of his, which is definitely the end, uh, when he reverses time and pretty much saves everybody.
Yeah.
But
Oh
like
yeah.
not
100%. I freaked out when that happened.
not only like is it a great scene, but it's also like it's also a callback to the prison moment with him and his dad. Like it's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
truly some amazing stuff.
I mean, it's like the arc is full circle.
Yeah.
I do want to get into a plot moment later after we're done talking about the characters that I think is related to that, and it's very important. So if I forget, just remind me.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess next character to really mention is Batman, which, you know, I will say that the majority of the movie is, it's better than most of what we saw in BVS, like just as a character. In terms of moments, though, like the warehouse fight still tops everything. It's still so good,
Yeah.
but just as a character, like they really did a number on Batman. They made him a lot better. And,
Also, I really like just the small moments as Bruce with the different members of the team and Alfred.
Yeah.
Faith, Alfred, Faith.
I was just gonna say, like, my favorite moment of his, and I think you and I can agree on this, is that tiny little like moment where it's just like, have faith, Alfred. Like,
I agree.
Because it feels so different from the Batman we got in BVS. Because he
Man talking like a Jehovah's Witness.
yeah,
he has hope now.
yeah. Yeah.
I do disagree with Batman on how he defines his faith, though. In Superman, he's like, for once, Alfred, I'm working strictly off faith without reason. But I actually think that faith should have reason. There should be reason why you have faith, and faith can have good evidence for it and reason. So I did disagree with his, typical ideology of that. I mean, a lot of people think that, but
Yeah.
I still think
disagree
it's
with
a good. I still think it's a really good moment.
Yeah, me too. I agree. Faith, Alfred. Yeah, that was a great line and a great moment.
Yeah. And then last hero to mention is Superman, which, I mean, I like Henry Cavill as Superman, and I think like, the moment of him coming out of the Kryptonian ship is probably one of the best moments in terms of the Snyder movies, but it's just one of those cases where it's like there's not really a whole lot of him here, which
he wasn't really that present in the movie.
Granted,
I do think it was okay that he wasn't, but
I thought
I don't feel like he needed to be.
Can you stop yelling in the mic? You're
Oh
actually,
my god, I didn't know where my mic was. My bad.
You're
It was, like, up
actually
to my
giving me
face, and I didn't know
tinnitus. As
My
I
mic
was
was like up to my face. My
as
bad.
I was saying before, he gave me tinnitus. Superman actually felt like Superman in this movie.
yeah.
I think that was the
True.
highlight of his character in this. He actually felt like Superman.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time in the
Also,
Zack Snyder movie.
Also one hilarious moment when he saves Cyborg when Steppenwolf is about to like hack him with an axe. He says, "Not impressed."
Oh yeah.
That was funny.
instead of that fucking stupid line, I believe in truth, but I'm also a big fan of justice.
That was so goofy.
Oh, I
Not
love
even
that part
good-
though.
And not even good goofy.
Before we move on
No,
to
it was good Goofy.
Before we move on to the villains, which there's only two of them I really want to talk about because Desaad is just basically like not really worth mentioning. But
He's just Zod, he's the same as he always is.
yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I want to mention about Superman, and I think I'm probably in the minority here, but I wasn't really a fan of the choice of using the black suit. That's
Really?
yeah. It just,
I love the black suit in my opinion.
I mean, it looks cool, but like, it doesn't really, do much. I mean, in the comics, like it had a purpose, but here it's mostly for fan service, which.
It is.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just to remind you, oh, we're doing, Death of Superman, and then he resurrects with the black suit.
Yeah.
Well, technically, the entire Snyder Cut is fan service if you think about it.
That's true. But
So,
still,
like, the
I
fact
mean,
it got made is fan service.
it still has to be accounted that it's still a movie either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I dug the suit. I probably would have had him in the blue suit in that last shot.
Yes,
That's me.
I would agree too. It just felt weird when he just pulls the shirt off and it's just the black suit underneath.
Why would he still be wearing it?
Yeah. Especially because there is the regular suit is in the Kryptonian ship. So
Well, I mean, he's literally wearing the regular suit the whole time. There isn't an actual suit.
Yeah, no.
Because they just filmed with the regular suit.
Yes,
so.
but in the context of the movie, it's still really weird. Like, especially for after everything is all said and done. But anyway, I guess we should just move on to the villains of the movie, and we'll start off with Steppenwolf, which is a lot
big improvement.
yeah, it's definitely a
boy,
massive improvement
definitely.
comparing it to the Justice League version.
He looks acts and is absolutely terrible in Justice League.
Yeah. Not only like
Didn't.
is the
And I'm glad in the Snyder Cut he's not he doesn't keep saying mother.
yeah, so
Martha.
just fuck. Yeah, in the Snyder Cut, like not only is he better design wise, which I was surprised about given our first like we talked about it on the podcast. Me and AJ, we talked about it when they first showed him off. It was like this does not look
Yeah.
great at all. But like in the movie, like it, you know,
I actually really dig it.
yeah, me too.
Like the
That man's got
constant
puppy eyes.
the constant moving of his suit is awesome.
I like that.
Also, he just looks generally more menacing, sounds more menacing,
Hmm.
and I feel like he's pretty sympathetic.
Yeah,
Dude, that scene where he like pushes all the arrows out of his suit is sick.
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Oh, I nutted in that scene.
I was like,
Also,
oh,
he had
that's so cool.
Also, he had a robot spider. How cool is that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
to read their minds. Yeah, it gave me Transformers vibes.
you know
It
what?
gave me Starro
Me
vibes, to be
too.
honest.
Honestly,
You guys remember that scene from
Yes.
Revenge of the Fallen?
oh yeah, it's just like where have I seen that? Oh yeah, this
I'm
is
sorry, I don't watch
it's
garbage
just
movies.
Transformers.
Yeah, you
sorry, I
do.
don't
You
li-
watch.
sorry, I'm sorry.
You watch
I'm
Suicide Squad
I'm sorry, I don't listen to 14-year-olds.
on SoundCloud.
Just remember who has the most subs here.
Oh wow. Okay, we're going there.
Let's remember who actually has good content.
Okay, so yeah, Steppenwolf definitely a major upgrade.
Hmm.
And I think that all the things that they added to him were really well done and well executed,
Yeah.
which is the most important part.
Yeah, it's just
So yeah,
I think he might be my favorite villain of the DCEU.
well, there's not really many others anyway, so it's like
I mean, there's not a lot of great villains.
yeah, I mean, there's
Like Ares is okay.
there's One-Eyed Bitch Boy from Shazam, and then there's fucking Zod from. Actually, Zod was okay.
Zod's one of the better ones.
I'd say
So
like
I would say Steppenwolf is bad. Steppenwolf's the best one.
yeah, I would say like
Yeah.
Steppenwolf and then Zod are like the top tier.
Steppenwolf, Zod, and Savannah are my favorites.
I'm sure that Darkseid, if theoretically we see him in the future, I think he would be probably the best because he would be the
Mhm.
main DC.
He's
I
Darkseid.
think Lex Luthor's the best, to be honest.
No.
To be honest with you, though,
You
I
mean
will
the
say,
Riddler?
I really do like Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. I'm sorry.
I liked him in BVS. He was
Actu-
not that good in
Actually, you know
the Snyder
what?
Cut.
To be fair, the scene at the end with Jesse Eisenberg and Deathstroke, like that, he was a lot better there than he was in like his own movie.
Yeah, that was an improvement to the hmms.
Yeah, because he wasn't all over the place and like just batshit insane, putting fucking Jolly Ranchers in people's mouths.
And he wasn't throwing photos of Batman.
It's
Martha.
Martha.
Oh god.
That one scene always is interesting to watch when he says but because that would be paradoxical.
It always makes
at the gala.
the line that always
Yeah.
makes me laugh is like, you had an hour to say Martha and now you have less. So
No
stupid.
shit. You're the smartest man on earth, and you say that.
But besides Steppenwolf, who was one of the worst comic book villains turned into one of the DCEU's best, um, I think
Yep.
Darkseid, for the small moments like that we got of him, like he really stole the show. Like it was,
I mean, he looks great. Like he looks like Darkseid,
yes,
and I really like the voice actor, Ray Porter.
I do too. Like
I really
He
dig him.
sounded really good.
He's as close to Michael Ironside as you could get.
I
You
would
know
put
what, too? I think his
him
lines
second.
were really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Ready
the
the Armada.
that dude.
We
That's
will
I'm not
use
gonna
the
lie.
old
That gave
ways.
me chills when he said "Ready the Armada" because you know what happens next is Justice
Mhm.
League 2. He's gonna come to Earth. But the other line that really was great was in the ending before he said that was when he said, "We will stop at nothing to acquire the anti-life
Yeah,
equation." It was so like, dude, this guy is a menace. Like he is like so immoral and just wants death and destruction throughout the universe
And
or
and
multiverse.
now I really want a scene similar to the the Superman and Darkseid fight in Destroyer, the finale
oh,
of
okay, yeah.
GLU,
Hmm.
which is one of my favorite episodes of television
Hmm.
and one of my favorite comic book media scenes. I love to see that between Henry Cavill and Ray Porter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Daddy Darkseid.
Also, I see Desaad in this because I was not expecting for them to put him on film, and it was a bit nostalgic for me because I remember seeing Darkseid and Desaad in Super Friends,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wish
and Super Friends is next level.
I wish, like, because they got lines and stuff. I wish if they gave anybody a line, it would be Granny Goodness, because she's just there as a
Hmm.
cameo, and they didn't do anything with her.
Yeah, she's just there for a second.
Yeah.
I love the way they use her in Superman the animated series. So I wonder if she was more utilized in the sequels.
Mm,
I think
yeah.
she probably would be. Um, she would have been a great addition. You know, if we happen to get the sequels, I think it'll be cool to see her.
She could have brainwashed Superman, like in Legacies.
Hmm. Um. Anyway, next thing I just wanted to mention were side characters, or just briefly mention them. Alfred is still the
Ryan
best.
Choi.
Ryan Choi was good. Like I don't think I liked him as much as you
Alfred is
did, but
obviously the best, though.
yes,
Jeremy Irons is a great actor
he is great, honestly, and
and a perfect choice for Alfred.
yeah,
And he's
Yeah.
hilarious.
yeah, like the moment where it's like him and uh, Diana, and he shows her like
Oh
the
yeah,
gauntlet, the absorbing one, like, he's,
that had me laughing.
yeah, but
Also, when Bruce walks in with the league and says, "This is Alfred. I work for him."
oh yeah, great stuff. Other characters I just kind of want to mention: Martian Manhunter. You know,
Mm.
even though like the nightmare moment, like it's just really weird. I do like the scene right afterwards where it's him and Bruce talking about it,
Yeah.
about
Hmm.
the
I
dark
was
side,
actually
and
curious as to what happened to Martian Manhunter in the Nightmare world.
Hmm.
If he like, does he die or is he? I mean, obviously Bruce didn't know who he was, so
I would have
he
just
wasn't gonna
assumed that
like
he would
see
be,
him.
yeah, I just would have assumed that he was dead by that point. But
Yeah.
even though like it was cool seeing Martian Manhunter, it raises more questions about the previous movies, because like these big world-ending
What,
threats showed
what
up
was
and he didn't
what
do
was he
anything about them.
doing during Man of Steel
Yeah,
and
We know what
and
he was doing.
BBS?
he was.
He was being a
He was
general.
right, but like actually, the real question is why was he the general, and why was he even like, why did he have anything to do with Superman?
Also, didn't he have that scene with Superman at the end of Man of Steel?
I think so.
Yeah, it was just like
Yeah,
after,
he talked to Superman, so why wasn't he like, "Hey, I'm a Martian. Let's talk."
yeah.
Well, as he said to Bruce Wayne, I finally found my place in the world. So maybe he wasn't like comfortable with being a Martian on Earth. Who knows?
I guess so.
um,
You know, they put in Manhunter because WB didn't want John Stewart in it.
yeah, they were gonna put Green Lantern in there, and they were just like, no, you can't use John Stewart. He also wanted
And
to
that
put.
is so
fuck?
dumb. I would have killed for John Stewart in this.
John Stewart, you will never switch my mind, is superior to Hal Jordan.
Yes,
Well,
Okay,
obviously,
we
he's the
can
best Green
disagree.
Lantern. He's the best Green Lantern.
he
John
is.
Stewart is
Right.
unequivocally the best Green Lantern.
You know what? Also, I saw this too. He also wanted to put Ryan Reynolds just as a cameo role, like not really anything character wise, but
That would have been awesome.
like,
I'd be good with a cameo.
yeah.
I'd laugh hard.
And then I guess for side characters, I mean, of course, you got Ma Kent and Lois Lane, which not really
Was
really
wa-
much.
was Ma Kent actually in this movie though?
Well, she had
Do we
the
have a confirmation?
she.
She was in the beginning, which was also a scene that actually that scene was kind of needed to show that the house was being foreclosed. But yeah,
And
she didn't really have.
And reveal that was Martian Manhunter.
It's his mom.
But like, my question is, how did okay, Martian Manhunter is cloning himself as Martha when he sees Lois, right?
Well, like shapeshifting.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, what I'm trying to understand is how does he know all this stuff about Lois and Clark?
I don't know. He's been spying on. Oh wait, was he spying on them during that scene in BVS?
Well, I mean, he can read minds, so I guess he could have read Clark's mind, like
That's
at
true.
some point.
Yeah, but see, Clark would have known though, right?
Maybe
so-
he read Lois's mind.
Well, but that's the thing is like
Maybe he
that's true.
maybe he read Martha's mind, put her
The
in the
only thing
closet, and
is
then
like
took over.
the only thing is like he's saying a lot of like personal stuff to Lois,
Mhm.
acting like he's literally
Yeah,
Martha.
it's weird.
Martha.
But
Why'd
yeah,
you
I
say
mean,
that?
I enjoyed his scenes though.
Yeah.
Why did you say that name?
And then the last two characters I just wanted to mention, Ryan Choi and Silas Stone, which Silas Stone is like one of my favorite characters in the movie.
I think
Me
he's
too.
really good. He
Yeah.
plays a really good. Well, not a good father, but he played a really good father.
Yeah. Yeah, like the
I just love the stuff with Cyborg,
Mhm.
which apparently I wasn't here for.
Oh shit, I just realized that we forgot to talk about Cyborg. But yeah,
Oh.
I
Cyborg
was
is
going to
Cyborg
mention
is-
that. I swear to God, I was going to mention that, and then I
I-
thought I thought
I-
it was stupid for a second.
I wasn't sure because my internet went offline for a while, so I just assumed that you guys did it without me.
No, I just forgot. Anyway, just to briefly mention Cyborg, he is the
Briefly
best
mention
character in the whole movie.
Best character by far.
I disagree. I think the best character was, what the hell? I think the best character, hands down, was Wonder Woman. Because she had such a character development.
You need to get out of here.
She had the best theme song, right?
They just,
Oh
You're
my
lying
God.
through your
they
teeth.
explored her to the core, and it was like, it was
They
so
explored her.
interesting.
Are you sure you were
explored her
watching the right
music.
movie?
Yeah, it was.
Are you sure you're not talking about Wonder Woman 2017?
No, it's called Justice League from 2017. That's the movie we're talking about, right?
Yeah, they certainly explored her.
I thought the one we just saw was Joss Whedon.
I got the...
Wait a minute, we weren't watching Justice League Unlimited?
But yeah,
AJ, you asshole.
Cyborg was the best character. But the thing is like, some people are saying like, oh well, he was too much of a whiny bitch in like the first two acts. But
He did lose his parent and
Right, and also he lost his livelihood as a normal person
yeah,
in society. So to me, I was like, I fully understand like why he would be so upset and not want to speak to his father. Sure, his father gave him a second chance at life, but did
it's
he
not
really
it's not
want a
much
second chance
it's
at
not
life?
much of a second chance.
Yeah, I'd rather die, to be honest.
I really
And
did
like,
like that scene of him when they're first showing off like what he can actually do, and
Hmm.
he gives the lady the $100,000 like
I love scenes like that.
yeah,
uh
it was pretty touching. It was like
I th- I
it
think
showed the good heart that he had.
I
yes
think that shows what I liked most about this movie. That it was like grand but personal.
Yeah.
yeah um but yeah, I'd still say my favorite movie is my favorite part of the movie of
My favorite
his
movie.
my favorite Spider-Man 2. My favorite moment of his is at the end with
The Dark Knight.
him in tuned with the mother boxes and
Hmm.
you know
I'm not
the
broken and I'm not alone.
yes,
That was a great scene.
absolutely like powerful stuff there. Like,
Hmm.
it's awesome.
I
The
think,
mo- the most compelling part of the movie is Cyborg.
yeah. Well, he's the heart of the movie.
Well, yeah,
Hmm.
Zack Snyder said he was the heart of the movie, and he wasn't. He wasn't
Yeah,
lying.
he wasn't lying, and I love that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to dip out early, but yeah. So I'll see you guys.
What the fuck?
All right.
Hi.
Okay,
Like
see ya.
Sure.
I
Okay.
literally like I have to leave right now. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Go
see ya.
subscribe to his channel. Watch his
Don't
content. All that.
Yeah, pretend I was here the whole time.
just for your sanity, pretend he wasn't here.
Yeah. Moving on to the last 2 points that I wanted to talk about were Snyderverse revival, which I mean is pretty much kind of dead in the water at the
Yeah,
moment.
because of whatever that lady said.
Yeah. I mean,
Who does not like Snyder at all?
I know the fans want it, and I know we probably want it too, but
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think it's gonna happen in a movie.
I
Like,
think there's a possibility on HBO Max, but
yeah.
like I'm 50-50.
You know what I would like to see if this whole, if it doesn't go through and we don't get the movies, whether on HBO Max or theaters or whatever, I would love to see them do like a comic book adaptation.
Hmm. Yeah, I've heard a lot. I've heard some ideas about that.
Yeah, because
I think I think Snyder's planning on doing that if it doesn't work out.
yeah, because he said he wanted to do one about like the backstory with Robin, Joker, and Batman. So I mean,
Oh yeah,
if it doesn't work out, then if they did a comic book and kind of
I'd
continued
read
on
that.
from there, I would too, honestly. Like, it'd be a way to get some closure rather than getting absolutely nothing at all.
Hmm.
Um, and just on final thoughts, what would you guys give? What would you guys score the movie from 1 to 10? Because I would say 8.5.
Yeah, I'd say that too.
I stay around that.
Okay.
Probably like an 8. But oh yeah, the thing I wanted to not talk about, I just want to mention it as a final thought is I think the scene where Flash reverse excuse me before Flash reverses time, when I saw the scene where the mother boxes blew the Earth up, it destroyed Earth, and Darkseid was coming. I was so surprised that they actually did that. I didn't think that was going to happen. And I didn't really know what was going on. I was like, did that just destroy the world, or like,
Yeah,
dead?
I thought
like,
I thought
was
that
it
was
just like a blue light?
I thought it was
saying
just like
Darkseid came?
I thought that was just a blip of what just happened. Like
Right.
I thought it was just gonna cut to Nightmare World or whatever.
Right, like I thought maybe 50% of the population would be like maybe Darkseid like snapped his fingers or something with the Infinity Gauntlet, but you know, because we all know that Darkseid's a carbon copy of Thanos.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
despite him being created 3 years before, but we won't get
Mhm.
into that.
Who cares?
And despite him being a better character, don't at me.
Yeah.
Well.
Well, if we're talking comics, then yes, for sure.
Yes, but film, not quite yet. I wouldn't
Well,
say that.
Well, we can't really say film
was,
because, like,
yeah, I was just talking comics and cartoons.
Oh yeah, he's by far a better character.
He
But-
doesn't really have much of a character yet. Depending on if we actually get the next two movies.
I don't think.
No, but
we
I will say that he was intimidating as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was good. But yeah, so that scene though, I just wanted to say that was a highlight of it because
Mhm.
when it blew up, it was like, man, this is really happening. Like the next move, like Justice League 2 is like inches away from happening.
Yeah.
And it was fun to watch. The new scenes were so fun to watch for the
Mhm.
first time.
Yeah.
Especially the dark side stuff. It was just awesome to see.
Yeah.
That whole third act too, like it was just like
One of my favorite third acts.
Yeah.
it was definitely great for sure. Like
Yeah.
It just felt really fresh.
okay, I guess just final thoughts I want to say.
Solid movie.
Really, yeah, it was a solid movie. Had some issues, but I think most of it was really good.
Best DCU movie.
Yeah, I think I'd probably agree.
Yeah. It's
Or
same here.
best Snyderverse movie because I don't know if I don't know if I put the Snyder movies in the DCEU main canon anymore.
Well-
I don't even know what the hell's going on with that.
Definitely best Snyderverse movie.
Best Snyder movie.
Yeah, best Snyder movie, definitively.
Yeah. What about you, Marvel?
Well, definitely Snyder's best in terms of his movies. In terms of, his DC universe, it's definitely the best one. And it's kind of a shame that we'll probably not really get a definitive ending to them because,
Mm-hmm.
but
Shame.
still hoping for that Ayer cut though. No, I'm kidding.
No. I don't
I
care.
could care less about the A.
You know what? After this, like, I don't. If there's any one cut that we deserve, it's definitely the Schumacher cut. But like, that's
Yeah.
it.
The Schumacher cut
Absolutely.
is the only one I want because one, he passed last year and he deserves it.
Yeah.
And two, it might be, if I get that cut, it might be one of my favorite Batman movies.
Yeah, it's what the fans deserve for sure. But
Yes.
anyway, we're gonna close the podcast. This was actually a really awesome discussion, and I want to thank.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun.
I want to thank everybody for joining here, and links down below to all their channels. Go subscribe to them. Any content you guys want to talk about before we head out of here? What you have planned?
Just that I'm on YouTube. Y'all know where to find me. You also know that I'm on Twitter. So if you want to have some superhero talk or collaborate on a video, I don't care. I'm open to do that.
Same for me.
And hopefully all of us will be doing more collabs in the future. I have fun collabing with you guys.
Same.
Not much for my channel. I want to start getting into Arkham photo mode compilations.
Oh yeah.
I want to start like consistently making videos.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so not much news for me, unfortunately. But enough to where, there's at least something.
Yeah.
I've got a collab with Marvel. It should be out by the time this video's out.
Yeah. So I'll probably annotate it somewhere at some point, but yeah. I mean, in terms of me, like, I'm working on the next review. My last review, the Blackgate video with Iron Ninja came out, so if you're interested, uh, should be on the card up top. I highly recommend you go watch it. It was a really fun video, and next up is Arkham Knight, so hopefully that goes well.
That's gonna be an interesting one.
Um, yeah, yeah. I honestly can't wait. Not because of the game itself, but also just like I want to finish the games already.
Hey,
So I want to move
if
on.
you need a collaborator for that one, I've played Arkham Knight too many times.
Yeah. Well,
I think
We'll
I
see.
played it more than you. I will say,
yeah.
but
No,
that's a
seriously,
debate
not
for another day.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I got a video ready for Monday, and it should be a video I did with Batman Ultra, so stay tuned for that.
And it'll be definitively his best video
Yeah.
because I'm in it.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. Be sure to follow me down below on everything: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Follow
And
these
tune in
guys.
next time. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yes. I may or may not have a video for Sunday, depending on if enough news and stuff comes out. We'll see. But anyway, have a great night. Thank you all so much for watching, and don't forget to take care of yourselves. See ya.